Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another book recommendation video, and this time I'm going to be talking to you about forced proximity. I have already done a video about forced proximity books, so this is technically part 2, but this is one of my favorite tropes. So without further ado, let's hop into the video. I also just want to apologize for my hair. It's not cooperating today, so this is as good as it's gonna get. The first book that I want to recommend is Deal with the Devil by Elizabeth O'Rourke. This is the first book in the Devil series. This follows Hayes and Tally, and Hayes is a plastic surgeon and his normal assistant is Tally's good friend, and he has to go on leave for a couple of months while he goes on parental leave for a little while him and his partner adopt their child, and Tally takes over his job in the meantime. Since it's only going to be a couple months, it's not really important that she knows what she's doing. Hayes is not nice to Tally starting day one. He is very rude and condescending, but Tally just does not back down. She doesn't take crap from him. And not only does she not take crap from him, they're very witty. It's very banter. I do think that sometimes it borders on bickering than banter, but I do think that it was, for the most part, really good banter throughout it. And she tries to chip away at his shell slowly by doing just nice things that is going to make his life just a little bit easier. She makes him stop and have lunch or breakfast, and she makes him have a vitamin with his morning coffee. So she just does these little things to show that she cares, and it slowly chips away at his rough exterior. And they slowly start to develop this friendship once they both sort of start to understand each other better. But the tension is very thick, so they decide one time when they're away for a conference just to hook up once and get it out of their system. But obviously that doesn't work, and it turns into a lot more than they planned. So this one is forced proximity just because she's now his assistant, and as an assistant for him, she needs to be on call basically 24/7 for him, and it's really good. It does very much give enemies lovers hate to love in a contemporary romance setting, so if you like that as well, that's another really good trope in this one. And there's just something about a super grumpy guy who secretly has a heart of gold that just always is going to do it for me. So I absolutely loved this book, and I hope you guys do too. The next book that I want to recommend is Jasper Vale by Devney Perry. This is the 4th book in the Eden series, and actually I would argue that all of the books in the Eden series are sort of forced proximity, because although they don't necessarily have they're not in the same house or something like that, they all have to be in the small town, which is sort of a forced proximity in itself. But this one follows Jasper and Eloise, who drunkenly get married one night in Vegas. But once they're back in Montana and the drunken haze has worn off, they quickly realize that this marriage could be more than a mistake. This could actually benefit both of them, especially for Eloise, because it can potentially show her parents that she is responsible, since she's trying to get their blessing in taking over the inn from them. So she wants to come off as super responsible. They end up moving in together to show that they're a real married couple, and they just are always constantly with each other and putting on their best show, which ends up just not actually being a show for them. So this one is very cute. I really like Jasper and Eloise as characters. Jasper is definitely that broody hero that is in a lot of Devney Perry's books, and I absolutely love that. And Eloise is the sunshine character. It's definitely grumpy sunshine as well, and I just find them they were perfectly matched together in this book. The next book is actually also a Devney Perry book, and it is The Outpost which is also the 4th book in her Jameson Valley series. Sorry, I just realized that they're both number 4 in the series and both by Devney Perry. I didn't mean to do that, but oh well, let's keep going. So this one follows Sabrina and Beau, and if you read this series in order, you don't have to, but if you read this series in order, you do get introduced to Sabrina in the 3rd book in Lucky Heart, because she is the female main character in that book's best friend. In fact, and she's an investigative journalist who reports on the story and has to go into hiding because she exposes the Russian part of the Russian mob, so she has to go into hiding. So she flees to Felicity because she's the only person she trusts. Felicity calls all of the people from the small town, like her brother who is the sheriff and Beau who is a search and rescue worker, and they know they need to go into hiding, so Beau takes Sabrina up into the mountains to one of the outposts for search and rescue. Basically, Sabrina and Beau are the only, Beau is the only person Sabrina sees over the course of a couple months. For the first month, just to get her used to it, he stays there completely with her. But then after that, it's every weekend he comes up and delivers her food and just gives her company and stuff like that. This is definitely a bit of a slow burn. I absolutely love Beau and Sabrina. They are kind of complete opposites in the best way. Sabrina is very much a city girl and Beau is a country guy. Sabrina really changes a lot of her attitudes toward the country as she is living in the outpost, and they both they acknowledge their attraction to each other early on, but they try not to act on it because of their differences, and he knows that she's going to want to go back to the city and he is just going to be a country guy, so it's an opposites attract romance as well. This one also, because he's sort of protecting Sabrina, it's very much it gives a bit of bodyguard vibes, and I just really liked it. I thought I just loved Beau so much. He and Sabrina ends up being a smutty Kindle Unlimited writer while she's while she's living in the outpost, and she doesn't have any internet or access or anything, so she just decides to write these smutty books, and I just thought that was a really fun touch. This book is just very, very sweet, and I think it's probably my favorite of the series, but Lucky Heart is definitely a close second. The next book I have to recommend is Kiss and Don't Tell by Megan Quinn. This is her first book in the Vancouver Agitator series, which is a hockey romance series. This one follows Pacey and Winnie, and Pacey and a few of his teammates are spending the summer up in the mountains of Banff, and one night when it's very stormy, Winnie gets stuck on the mountains and comes knocking on their door and looking for a place to stay, or at least a phone, because she's a bit stranded. So she ends up having to spend the night there, and there's almost an immediate attraction. Pacey is definitely smitten with her immediately, so it's a bit of instant love. If you don't like that, just be aware. But Megan Quinn's writing is just so hilarious. She's very much a rom-com writer. I thought both characters were so funny, and just the circumstances they end up together in is just, it's just hilarious. This one also, I just feel sets up this rest of the series really well. You get introduced to the other teammates that this books are going to be about in the same time you get introduced to Pacey. If you're looking for a really quick, fun, forced proximity rom-com, this one is a perfect one for that. If you're also a fan of hockey romances like me, then that's just an added bonus. This whole series is really good, but this one in particular does really set up the series. And last but not least, the last book I have to recommend is The Naked Fisherman by Julianne. This is the first book in the Fisherman duet. This follows Fisher and Reese, and basically Reese has grown up with her grandparents who are very religious and very controlling, but she finally gets to spend the summer after she's graduated with her mom because she's recently out of prison, and so she gets to finally get to know her mom as well as just get away from her strict grandparents. So she goes and lives with her mom for the summer, and the landlord that her mom is living in the basement of is Fisherman. That's his name. It's Fisher, last name Man, which I just think is really clever. I love Julianne. She's so clever. And then it turns out that her mom has to leave for a couple of weeks because she got this opportunity to study hairdressing from someone who does Star's hair, so she can't really pass up this opportunity since she's trying to grow her business after getting out of jail. She leaves Reese in Fisher's care for a couple weeks. Reese just starts working with Fisher, and so they're basically together 24/7 because she lives in his basement and she is with him during the day for work. Is quite a bit older, so there is quite a big age gap in between this. The banter is just phenomenal. I also want to say if you start this book and don't really like Reese, she does have a lot of character development in this book and she does really grow on you. So don't DNF this one too quickly if you find her annoying, because she really does grow on you. The tension and the forbidden aspect of this and the second book, I don't want to give it much more away because I do think these ones are best if you go in blind. They are very good, very spicy, very angsty. Julianne is the queen of angst, so she did a great job with these ones, and if you love all of those tropes that I listed, then you're gonna love this one. Okay, and those are the 5 books that I have to recommend today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave in the comments what your favorite forced proximity romance is. Subscribe if you're not already, and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps support my channel, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.